Hey guys, welcome back. Behavior Strategies for Class. This is where we empower you, the educators, with effective behavior strategies that work so that you can teach. And this month, we're going over some evidence-based strategies, tools to help you feel more equipped. And these are predictable systems, relational strategies, and concrete tools that let you respond to that challenging behavior with skill and not stress. So those are episodes 210, 211, and then today is 212. And today we're going to talk about some of those concrete tools. So 4 tools that will equip you to respond to your students' challenging behaviors with skill. So you won't want to miss this. Listen in. Welcome to Behavior Strategies for Class. I am Diane Bachman, your behavior paraprofessional with over 15 years of experience working in special education. And I'm so glad you're here because I'll be teaching you about social-emotional learning, behavior strategies, trauma-informed care, and more. So if you are tired of being frustrated and not knowing what to do with your students who have challenging and disruptive behavior, you're in the right place. Now, if you're ready to become more equipped to help your students learn and grow, let's listen in to today's episode. As always, before we get started, please hit that subscribe button, share this episode, share this podcast with other educators that you know so that we can continue to learn and grow with each other. So, concrete tools. So these are some strategies, tools that you can have because every educator, you know the weight of those moments when a student's behavior is feeling bigger than the tools and the resources you have in your hands. And you know, the truth is, challenging behavior is really communication. It's really not about control. When you respond with skill instead of stress, you are helping de-escalate the moment with your student. And you are building trust that will last between you and the student. So the tools that we're going to talk about today are practical trauma-informed, evidence-based strategies that you can lean on when that challenge behavior comes up in your classroom. And we know it's going to, right? Even though maybe you haven't had many issues so far this year, and I'm not saying that you are going to, but the odds are that you probably will experience some of challenging behaviors from your students this year. Now, the tools we're going to talk about are strategies and tools that we use every day in our program in the elementary school. And I've used these for really lots of years. And just to remind people, I have been working in special education now almost 20 years, and we're constantly learning, right? Just as everything. And how can we do things better? How can we communicate better? How can we help our students learn and grow better? Teaching them the skills so that they don't have to rely on us all the time. So the first tool that you can use is asking restorative questions. Now, these questions are going to be asked after your student has de-escalated. The main thing to remember is when your student is escalated, they are not in their right mind, right? Their emotions have taken over and they are not going to hear what you are saying, what you are asking, what you want them to do. Now, usually we will give expectations and just remind them of expectations. And sometimes it's as simple as when you sit in the seat, we can talk about it. You know, when you pick up that chair, we can talk about it. You know, when you sit down quietly for 2 minutes, I'll know you're ready. Sometimes it's just those easy, simple directions and expectations to help your students get through that escalation that they're going through, that emotional upheaval that they have in their body. So they'll be able to hear our expectation in helping them get to the end of their escalation. But they're not going to be able to really process like what happened, how did you respond? What could you do next time? Was anybody hurt? How can you make things right? Like they're not going to be able to have a clear head in order to process or answer any of those questions while they are still escalated. And that is one of the things that I see some educators doing wrong. They're trying to have a full-on conversation and they're getting frustrated because the student is not answering, or the student turns and is cussing you out, or the student starts throwing things at you, and now you're frustrated because he's not answering you while he's escalated, because that's not the right time. So learning to know the right time to really ask the questions and process through what happened to make them get to this place, and how can we process through that, and giving them that chance to say their voice and say what happened and let them express how they're feeling and what they felt during that time. So the second tool that we use is like a pre-correction and a positive narrative. So that's really reinforcing that positive behavior. So like we've had some students who in the past, when they were redirected by their teacher, when they were corrected by their teacher, there would be an explosion of emotion. And sometimes that was in running out of the room. So now they're eloping. They're knocking things over as they're leaving. They're hitting people as they're leaving. They're kicking people as they're leaving. And we have seen a lot of growth already just this year, especially in one of our students who had that behavior when they were corrected or redirected when what they were doing was not the directions. So this student, and this one example was when he was in PE and the teacher's trying to give directions and he is just playing and talking to some of the other students like constantly. And she finally like firmly kind of raised her voice a little bit to remind him like, hey, I'm trying to give directions here. It is not your turn to talk. And he didn't say a word. He didn't run out of the room. He didn't like lash out at anybody around him. And he just took it. And I talked to the teacher afterwards and we were both like, wow, like that's growth. So there is hope, guys. And this is what I want to give you too, right? There is hope in using these. Like I said, these are evidence-based. These are strategies that I've been using for years and they work. Now, granted, it's not a one time and, they don't get it. It's over and over, right? It's an over and over that we constantly teach and reteach to help them get to that positive behavior instead of the negative, hurtful behavior that they've been used to. So again, it's showing them, so what could have happened? What's another way, helping them see, so could you have done this? Or could you have done that? So it's kind of the same restorative questions and helping them think, giving them that voice and choice. And we will do that with our students. We do that all the time. Once they are de-escalated, they have a calm body and a calm voice, we start to have these conversations with them. Now, sometimes they'll have a calm body, but their voice is not calm, right? They still have an attitude. They're still angry. They may still cuss you out. And we're like, okay, well, you're not ready yet. We'll give you, 5 more minutes or whatever it is until we can have a, calm conversation and reinforcing again. So that student that I just said did not, explode, get upset, run out of the room when that teacher corrected him. Like, I gave him such kudos. Like, I was so proud of him. He did amazing. And just sometimes verbally acknowledging what he did or what he didn't do, right? Other times this student struggled being in the gen ed class, and now he's in the gen ed class like 90% of the time. And so, same thing. The other day I went up to him in class and I'm like, dude, I am so proud of you. Look at you. You're doing your work. You're in class. You're learning. You're doing amazing. And then I just walk away because sometimes he wants to, debate me about it. But I just give him those kudos and then I just walk away because they need to hear it. So a third tool that you can have is that emotion coaching language. So it's helping them label their emotions. It's helping build their emotional intelligence. So, like if he was in that situation and he got upset and ran out the room, later he would tell us, like, she made me angry and I didn't want to be in there anymore. And it's like, okay, so what can we do with that, right? Because you're going to have teachers that are going to make you angry, but running out of the room is not always going to be a safe solution for that. And so that is like years. We've worked with this student for a few years, and this is something, again, that we have been teaching and reteaching him how to learn, how to process, and what would be a better solution to that situation that he gets in. Now, again, he doesn't always handle everything perfectly. He did walk out of another classroom a different day, but he at least doesn't run out of the building, which is nice. We have another student who does that and is down in the parking lot like before I know it. Super fast kid. But still, our main things right are, you need to be safe and you need to follow directions, right? These are life skills that they need to have forever, right? We're still following directions from our boss and our supervisors, right? Like this is something, and we have to be safe, right? You grow up and you have a family, or, you have a boyfriend, a girlfriend, or whatever, and you want people to be safe. The people you care about, you want them to be safe. The people you're around, you need to be safe. And so these are life skills too, to remember that you are helping them learn life skills that will help them truly the rest of not only their education life, but their whole life as a general. And this is like the whole child, like you're teaching the whole child. So getting that emotional language, so how are you really feeling about that? I'm angry, I'm frustrated, I'm irritated, he's annoying, this is boring. These are all the fun things we hear all the time. Stupid school. We should never have school. I hate the school. I hate everybody. Okay. We just kind of like, okay. Because you want to validate. And sometimes we will go back and like, so do you really think that's true? Especially sometimes when they say, well, nobody likes me. Everybody hates me. Nobody plays with me. I have no friends. We kind of bring it back and like, okay, well, do you think that's really true? Do you think nobody plays with you at recess? Nobody talks to you? So we let them express, we validate how they're feeling, that they were able to label those feelings. But then, if some of them are like way on the negative, we want to help them come back to a positive mindset as much as possible. So the fourth tool that you can use is doing that collaborative problem solving. And this would be probably mostly with some of your older students who can comprehend, who can process through different situations that they've been in. They can process through their behaviors and how they reacted. And then you want to brainstorm with that student and get them. So what can help you get back to learning? What can help you, next time this happens? What do you need to help you succeed? Sometimes some of our students have said, like, I need a snack. Like it's an immediate fix, right? They're hungry. And sometimes we take that for granted. Like, guys, you're going to eat lunch in an hour. But sometimes these are little guys. Like, if I'm hungry and I have to wait another hour, sometimes that hangry comes over and we are not happy people. I am not a happy people when I become hangry. And so instead of like spinning our wheels and trying to come up with something after they just told you they're hungry, is it really worth upsetting the student and you're getting frustrated than to just give that student a snack? That's the way I look at it. Like they can take a deep breath, they can, the growling in their stomach can stop, and they can start to focus a little bit better now that they have some food in their stomachs. I mean, I know I focus better when I have food. I'm full, I'm satisfied. Like I have my coffee, I ate my lunch, like we're good to go. And sometimes it's like, okay, well, I can't wait until lunch. Like I'm hungry now. Let me grab something. And because for the most part, we can do that. I know you are not always able to do that, right? You're teaching the whole time. But if you're able to grab a snack when you can, like you feel better. So that is an easy solution. And they're trying to tell you, this is a solution that helps me. So let's not disregard that. Some other ways we've used, it comes back to fidgets. Sometimes it's a visual on their desk. One student used to blurt out all the time. And so we finally put a visual on his desk that showed no blurting. And so we would point to that and be like, hey, remember, there is behavior charts that they can use. What are their goals for that day? Maybe the goals for that afternoon, for that morning. What can they work on? What is going to help them be successful so that they can access their learning? And you don't, like, they may not have all the suggestions, right? So you can throw out all these different suggestions and they may say, no, 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 no. And then it's like, okay, well, we got to come back. We got to pick one. We got to at least try one of these. And then they usually will pick one because we're giving them back that voice and that choice, which builds trust, which makes them feel safe so that they are able to engage, right? So having that conversation, and of course, this is when they are in a calm spot, they have a calm body, a calm voice, and you're able to collaborate with them and just say, okay, and this would be mostly for that reoccurring behavior. So like I said, we had that one student who constantly blurted out, like every day, 10 times. I don't remember exactly how many times a day, or an hour, that he would blurt out. And so we were finally trying to come up with solutions, to help him. And we were asking him, like, what's going to help you kind of control your voice until it's time for you, to answer. And so sometimes maybe it is that student who's goes to, anger in 2 seconds. What can they do? Think of something. Is there something that helps to calm them? Is it a picture of maybe a family, a stuffed animal, the mountains, the beach? Can you have a small picture maybe in their desk or in their binder or on their desk that they can look at and be like, oh, okay. Or maybe it's a breathing exercise that they need to look at and be like, okay, I know I need to take a deep breath before I feel like I'm going to flip over my desk. Or I'm going to hit Johnny when he walks by again. It's helping them think through what are some solutions that are going to help you be successful in the classroom. And that's what we want to do, right? We want to help them, invest in themselves, invest in how they can be successful. Because, of course, it's so easy, again, for us to give them all the answers and say, hey, you can do this. This is what you need to do. Do this, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're good to go. I think that's the problem that I've seen with some of the conversations online with some educators who are struggling because they have laid out all the expectations. They've gone over their class routines and all their management skills, and they're still having issues. And I think the big difference today in the classroom is that connection, is that relationship, is taking time to get to know who your students are. And that's all day that you're doing that. That's in the smile, the way you greet them, the way you ask them how they're doing, the way you let them share during morning meeting, the way they share maybe at the end of the day, the way they can, write in their journal, the way they can, maybe you have time to let them, draw a picture for somebody and then share it with the class. Giving them those different opportunities to share who they are really helps them to come back and be like, okay, this is our classroom. Giving them that feel of community, that feel of ownership in your classroom. So not only are you setting that example, you're setting those expectations, you can begin to build that community by taking time to connect with them. And I know I'm a broken record on that because I know it works and I know it makes a huge difference, not only for you, but for your students, for your whole classroom, and then for your school community as well. It's amazing. And I know you want to get there. And you can. And I think the difference too is that I think our society, when I went to school, it was just a given. The teacher is the lead, the one in charge, and I am going to be respectful and follow directions, whatever my teacher says. That's just a given. And unfortunately, it's really not anymore. For majority, I'm not saying for everybody, but for a lot of students, that's not a given anymore. They're constantly challenging the adults in their lives and their role in their lives. Because unfortunately, some of the adults in their lives are not good role models and have not been caring adults to them. So now they're in class and now they're questioning you. Who are you? Who are you to tell me what to do, right? But when they continue to see that you care about them, that you want them to succeed, they will start to come around and be like, okay, this is my classroom. This is, where I can learn and where I can grow and where I can succeed. So again, these are trauma-informed relational skill building strategies that you can truly start using today. So instead of having escalated power struggles with your students who have challenging behaviors, These strategies, these tools create safety, agency, and opportunities for growth. And these trauma-informed strategies are so essential today. So again, these are 4 concrete tools that equip you to better handle your students' challenging behaviors with skill and not stress. So it's asking those restorative questions, having that positive narrative, like prepping them, being proactive on how they can handle any situation that comes up with their behaviors. Number 3, emotional language, building their emotional intelligence with those emotional words. And then number 4, that collaborative problem solving. Brainstorm with your student. You'll really find that they'll enjoy that, and they will feel more empowered to really want to make a change. Now, granted, you're going to have students who are going to be struggling and who have a lot more trauma going on, that it's just going to take a lot more than some strategies that you have, that hopefully you have a mental health team that can also help support as well. But we have to start somewhere, right? You have to continue to build that foundation for your students to help them succeed as a whole student. So I want to leave you with this quote from Michelle Rosenthal. And she says, "Trauma creates change you didn't choose. Healing is about creating change you do choose." So as you incorporate these tools into your classroom, you are creating a healing environment for your students. So keep up the great work. You're doing amazing. And I will see you next week. Thanks so much for listening. I truly appreciate your support. And if I have encouraged you, motivated you to continue to learn, to support your students, even better, to help them strive in your classroom, please leave a review, hit that subscribe button so that others can see they can learn and grow here as well. Thank you.